welcome you guys back to my channel, Nene Vlogs. Welcome to my July wrap-up and my August TBR. So as you're gonna see, I read a lot because it was holiday and I didn't have a lot of school, so I had time to read. Yeah, so let's begin. The first 3 books I read is part of a series. I specifically kept it out to read during the holidays. So I saved up for all the 3 books and then I started reading. This series is none other than The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. So I saved up for City of Bones, City of Ashes, and let me try. City of Glass. Woo! I started off with City of Bones. It's a really good series. So the series, if you guys don't know what the series is about, it's about this girl called Clary Frey, and she has a normal life until she starts seeing things that other people can't see. Supernatural creatures, vampires, people that can do unthinkable things, and it's her story on how she experiences it, how she finds out more about herself and about her past and her mother. And yeah, I really enjoyed this book. Out of so far the 3 books I've read, I like this the most. The second book, City of Ashes, is just continuing the story. New problems occur, new things happen. I'm just saying this book, I wouldn't say is the best out of the 3. I would give it 4.5 or 4 out of 5. It took me a while to get into. I think it's just because I read it at the wrong time. I think I started it, then I had a long break, and then I went on reading it. But this was still a good story. I mean, it wasn't the worst. It was 4.5. It's still really good. And then the last book that I read, oh my gosh, City of Glass. So this is also a good book. I think I also, when I started it, took me a while to get into, but it's a really good book. This also, they go to the City of Glass. I think that's what you call it. I forgot the real name, but I think it's City of Glass. They go to the City of Glass. They find out more stuff. Okay, so this is kind of going to be a spoiler. Kind of. I'm not going to like say names. So if you think it's still going to spoil you, just wait for this book to go down and then you can put it off mute. Okay, so just saying, when this one suspicious character comes, I'm not naming names, but when this one suspicious character comes, I knew something was up, something was wrong with him. Then, when one of the characters dies and says something about him, it gave me more reason, and I like literally in my mind, it just switched. I'm like, I know who this is. And I'm just saying, I knew it from the beginning. I knew it, and I'm actually really happy. But the only bad thing about the ending is, I'm happy that they realized something. Just the ending with what the queen, the fairy queen says, and what at the beginning the witch said about falling in love with the wrong person. Oh, I would give this book like a 5 out of 5. Really, I love this book. This is like my favorite book so far of the series. Then this one, I said, like I said, 4.5 out of 5. And this is also like 4 3/4 out of 5. These 3 books were good so far. I'm planning on reading the whole series, so stay tuned for that. During holiday, before I actually read the last book of the series, I read one book. My sister and I bought this book and we read it together, which is The Scrapbook of My Life by Alfie Days. So obviously it was not like a novel or a storybook. It was a biography of his life so far, and I loved it. I've already said this so many times, I love this cover, and I love how he wrote it, like all the pictures, his pictures and the way he wrote it. I love that about the book, and to just, you know, learn more about him. It's just so good. Then, during holiday, when I came back from the sea, I finished all 3 of the books and I'm like, which book should I read next? And then I remembered I borrowed this book from my sister's best friend, who is also like my friend, which my sister and my mom read, and they both said is such a good book. And they were completely right. Like, I have no regrets reading this. It is like the best choice I've ever made. I'm reading this book called Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. What can I say? This book is a Christian romance and whoa, it was such a good book. Okay, it's in the times of the 1850s and it's about this small girl who is sold into prostitution at a young age. And now the rest of the book is in the present when she's like 20 or something. And it's in her view and the other character's view called Michael. And now he sees her walking down the street one day and he hears from God she is the one that he should marry. And it's so good. It's a romance. This book really like explains how God knows best. He does things for a reason, even though if we don't understand it, he knows what the reason is. He knows how it's gonna end. And such a good romance book, and the main character, it's a good book seeing how she grows, how she changes, and how she just experiences everything. I really like, this is like my top book so far right now. I think this is like one of my favorite books. This is 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Oh, I love this book. Like, you guys read it. It's such a good book. It's just so good. I literally enjoyed it so much. I want to read it again. I'm gonna I'm talking so fast. When I love books, I start speaking fast. I really am going to buy this in the future because I want to read it again. It's also really great the way that it's written because some sentences are in bold and those bold words are from God usually or from the devil. So you see how the characters, they hear God's voice and they experience it and how they take it in, and it's really good. I just want to say this is such a good book. I literally love it. I recommend this completely. Then after that I read Heidi by Johanna Spyri. This is a very old copy. In South Africa there's an Afrikaans series called Heidi, so I kind of knew the storyline. It's about this girl who is very young when she is taken by her aunt to live by her grandfather, and it's just how she experiences everything at a very young age. Like, you see how compassionate she is and she sees things in her eyes and how she understands things. And then later on she's taken to this family who has a daughter that's a bit older than her that can't walk. It's great to see how her mind thinks. It's a very happy, nice book. The only bad thing that I didn't completely enjoy about this book was the grammar was very sometimes horrible. It sometimes just like had the worst sentence structures. I didn't understand some sentences, so it took me a while to start getting into it. But once you get past that, it's really like a really good book to just see in this 5-year-old's perspective. Also, it also took me a while to get into because I'm so used to reading in like young adults perspectives and teenagers. So it's the transition between those two age groups is kind of big, seeing things through their eyes. But once you get into it, it's a really good book. I would give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. And then the last book that I read in July is called The Bridge by Karen Kingsbury. My mom was reading this book. It's a very easy read. She's like, it's huge, like the font is huge. So she's like, you can just read this in like 3 hours or something. And she was right. Look at these big words. I don't know if you can see them, but it's huge. It's about these two friends who spent a lot of time in this bookstore when they were in university. And now it's 5 years later and their lives have changed. They haven't seen each other for 5 years. The bookstore that they always went to, there was a flood in the town and the bookstore lost like all their books and is in really big trouble. And it's how a community comes back together to save this bookstore, to save the owners, because the owners are in a very bad place right now. And yeah, it's also a Christian book, and it's a very, very, very simple and easy book. Like, if you're looking for a really easy read, this is it. I didn't enjoy it that much. I feel like it was too simple. There were a lot of cliches. Yeah, you knew what would happen, and I also didn't enjoy some of the decisions that the girl made in this book. But I like this because, like my mom said, it's just nice to see in this world, you know, there's a lot of problems and how good things still can happen, miracles still happen. I would give it still a 3 out of 5. The next books are my TBR for August. I am not going to read that much because it's school and we have so many projects. I have a mathematics tutorial for Monday and it's in 2 days. So our school is doing a musical and I'm part of the choir. So we are practicing a lot because it's also in August and there's a lot of extramural activities that I do. So I'm trying to fit my reading in, but it might not work that well. So the first book in my TBR, I already started and so far it's a really good book. It's Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare in the Infernal Device series. It's about Tess, who she comes to England for her brother, and then she's taken by these 2 ladies, and it's the same world of the Mortal Instruments series, and it's how she experiences things. She finds out she has this very rare power that like no one has and no one knows what it is. So far it's a really good book. And I'm just reading this because on the internet it says that you read the first 3 books of the Mortal Instruments, then you read the first book of the Infernal Devices, and then you go on with the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices, Mortal Instruments, Infernal Devices, like that. So I'm starting off, this is from the library, but I'm planning to buy it soon. So yeah. Then the next book is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, I don't know. I want to read a classic every month, so this is going to be my classic. I really want to read it. I watched the movie sadly before, but I want to see the story play out in a book. The words are super small, so it's going to take me super long to read it. I don't know if it's the best decision to read it right now in my life right now, but I so badly want to read it. It's about this girl who's treated very badly by her cousins and her aunt, and is then, I think, taken away to a boarding school or a orphanage, I don't know. And then when she's 18, she goes away and she starts working at this place as a teacher to this one girl, and then maybe not, she falls in love with the master, but then she starts finding things out in the place, and it's a very like good book. There's mystery, there's romance. It's a gothic book, I think, a gothic novel also. The next book I also want to read, my sister also owns it. It's The Host by Stephanie Meyer. So I have a feeling you guys know what this book is about, so I'm not going to explain it. I might explain it more next month in my wrap-up. So the next book that I'm going to read, I don't have it, but I'm planning to buy it. It's The City of Fallen Angel, the 4th book in the Mortal Instruments. And I think I've already explained why I'm reading it, why I'm going to read it next. But I'm really excited because I love this series and I can't wait till I get enough money to buy it. So that's the end of my TBR and wrap up for this month and next month. I hope you guys enjoyed this type of a video. I'm starting to do this more because I really enjoy reading, and I think making videos of things that I enjoy is the best way to go. So stay tuned for more of these type of videos and maybe more reviews. I don't know if I'm gonna do reviews. I'm not that good at making reviews, but stay tuned, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment down below and subscribe. See you guys next time. Vlog!